Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 266.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about Billionaire Collections, and you'll learn why a billionaire paid a record $110.5 million for one painting. It's quite an interesting story. I can't wait to share it with you. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know about another awesome podcast called Profit Boss Radio. Profit Boss Radio is hosted by MBA and certified financial planner Hillary Hendershot, who highlights inspiring women who have created success in their financial and professional lives. Each week you can tune in and hear how women have paved the road to sustain success with both beliefs and actions. Check it out at profitbossradio.com. I wanted to share this story with you because you might not know this about me, but I have a real passion for art and have collected art over the years. I have about 70 different paintings in my collection, and I love it. When my husband was alive, we used to go to art auctions all the time, and that was one of our favorite things to do. And we collected way too much, but it is one of the joys that I have is seeing our favorite works and the great memories that brings. And so yesterday when I heard about this auction at Christie's in New York and how a Jean-Michel Basquiat sold for $110.5 million, I thought, hey, I've got to do a podcast on this because I wanted to share what that person might have been thinking to spend that much money on a painting. It might seem completely outrageous to some people, but we're going to talk about why would he want to spend that much money on a painting. But first I want to tell you a little bit about this painting. It's in a category now all to a very small group of only 10 other canvases who have ever sold for over $100 million. The purchaser was actually a 41-year-old Japanese tycoon, rock musician, and fashion entrepreneur. His name is Yusaku Maezawa. And the LA Times says that until shortly before Thursday's auction, this particular painting had not been shown in public since a private collector bought it for $19,000 in 1984. Okay, so get this straight. It sells for $19,000 in 1984, and then yesterday sells for $110.5 million. Can you imagine if you were the owner of that painting? Wow, that is crazy. The New York Times went on to say it was Mr. Maezawa, the 41-year-old founder of Contemporary Art Foundation, who last year set the previous auction high for Basquiat, paying $57.3 million for the artist's large 1982 painting of a horned devil at Christie's. Now, mind you, this was a painting of a black skull. So now he's got a skull and a horned devil in his collection by Basquiat. Okay. And Mr. Maezawa is also the founder of Japan's large online fashion mall called Zozotown. That sounds like maybe the Japanese version of Amazon, perhaps. So how is that for compounding from $19,000 to $110.5 million? That blows my mind. So we're talking enormous numbers here. And it's just so interesting because Basquiat is an American artist. He is African-American as well. So he set a record for being an African-American artist, also for being an American artist, up there with Andy Warhol and others. And it is the first art that was created since 1980 to sell for over $100 million. So lots of different records broken there. Really fascinating. The painting is untitled, so there is no title to this painting. And Basquiat actually only painted for about 7 years. He started as a graffiti artist, believe it or not, and then at 21 painted this painting. And so in that 7-year time went from being a graffiti artist to being a well-selling artist and contemporary of his friend Andy Warhol. So unfortunately, he succumbed to a drug overdose and died at age 27 in 1988. He was born in Brooklyn, and last year Basquiat became the highest-grossing American artist at auction, generating $171.5 million from 80 of his works, according to Art Price, and his auction high has increased, again, at least tenfold in the last 15 years. So why would someone pay this much for a painting? Well, I have 7 reasons why someone might pay that much for a painting. Number 1, because they absolutely love the work. As an art collector, I know that art can make me feel emotion. It can evoke just an amazing feeling from looking at it. So you can get attached to art just from looking at it. So apparently he had a very visceral, emotional reaction from seeing the work. Number 2, if you're a collector and you like that particular artist, you want to own more of their works. I have several artists that I have multiple pieces of, and I love collecting newer pieces of what they have created because I love their style and I love seeing more and more of their work. So if you're a collector, you want to have more of their pieces. Number 3, in this case, the rarity of the work is part of what is making this so valuable. Because Basquiat only painted for really 7 years, there's very limited work of his out there, and he was already being exhibited in museums before he died. So he had young success, and then there is a very limited number of his work. So the rarity of the work is also a reason why someone would definitely pay this much. Number 4, his prices have been escalating like crazy, so tenfold in 15 years. And so people tend to be attracted to those artists that are appreciating in value. And it tends to kind of, keep continuing in that spiral as more and more people want to own those works of artists that keep increasing in value. Number 5, art has been appreciating better than other assets. So certainly this has been doing better than stocks, for example. And so as just a pure investment, he might be seeing this as a great opportunity. Number 6, diversification of your fortune, because if you have a lot of money, you need to diversify and not have all your assets in any one place, and especially in Japan, where they are notorious for having done a lot of money printing the last several years. That's making their currency worth and worth less over time. And also, it is just a good idea to get out of cash and maybe into some physical assets. And art is one of those choices that you have. But the most important reason why he bought this painting, drum roll please, because he could afford it. Ha! Because he could afford it, of course. I had to throw that in there. So I wanted to know, well, what are the other works of art that sold for over $100 million? So in case you're crazy about art like I am, or you were just curious, well, what are those other paintings that have sold for over $100 million? There's only 10 of them. And let's see what other artists are in that club. Well, number 1, Pablo Picasso, Les Femmes d'Alger, sold for $179.4 million in 2015. Then Amedeo Modigliani's New Cochet sold for $170.4 million in 2015. Pardon me if my French is terrible. Number 3 was Francis Bacon's triptych called 3 Studies of Lucian Freud for $142 million in 2013. Edvard Munch, The Scream, sold for $119.9 million in 2012. I actually have seen that painting in the gallery that it was in Europe, and quite an interesting painting of a head screaming. Number 5, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Untitled, this very painting we've been talking about, sold for $110.5 million this year. Next was Pablo Picasso's Nude Green Leaves and Bust for $106.5 million, sold in 2010. Then Andy Warhol's Silver Car Crash sold for $104.5 million in 2013. Then Pablo Picasso's Garçon à la Pipe sold for $104 million in 2004. So actually, there's only 8 paintings that have sold over $100 million at auction. So those are the 8. 3 of those are Pablo Picasso. Very interesting list of artists, very exclusive list of artists. I just thought this would be a fun podcast to do. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing it with you. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the Be Wealthy and Smart podcast, please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are uploaded. And I'd love to get a review from you. I want to hear from you. Leave me a message on iTunes or Stitcher Radio and review the show. If you haven't yet gotten your 11 quick financial tips to boost your wealth, go on and get them. They're a one quick pager of things to do that can get your wealth growing for you. And that's at lindapjones.com. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.